Hello and welcome to my kitchen. In this video, I'm going to show you how I make falafel, and I love this falafel recipe because it tastes really authentic, it's full of flavor and it's so fresh tasting. In addition, it's full of protein, it's vegan and it's easy to make. So let's get cooking. For this recipe, you're going to need 1.5 cups or 300 grams of split chickpeas. And we're going to look over it to remove any foreign particles. Then rinse it under running water a couple of times, and then I'm going to soak it in warm water for a couple of hours. So mine's been soaking now for at least 2 hours. I'm going to drain the chickpeas and then get it ready to make the falafel. So now that my split chickpeas have soaked, what I'm going to do is prepare my fresh ingredients for the mix. And for that, I need 3 medium-sized garlic cloves that are peeled and ready to go. I'm going to use 3 spring onions and I'm going to chop those up. I also need like 1 cup of flat leaf parsley that is chopped up, and I like to use parsley because it gives a very nice, fresh and authentic flavor. But if you like coriander, you can definitely substitute some of the parsley with coriander, but make sure you do add parsley to it. Now to make the chickpeas, you want a chopper with a blade like this, and I'm going to add my chickpeas to the chopper. I'm going to crush the garlic and put it in, because you definitely don't want big chunks of garlic when you're eating the falafel. We're going to add the green onions or the spring onions and the parsley to the mix. Now to the mix, I'm going to add 1.5 teaspoons of ground coriander powder, 1.5 teaspoons of ground cumin powder, 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon powder, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1.5 teaspoons of oil. Then we're just going to cover it and pulse it until we get a nice fine texture with the chickpeas. And make sure you keep stirring it in between to make sure that all the chickpeas are ground up evenly. So this is the texture that you're looking for. You don't want it to be completely fine like a paste. You want some grains in there. And then go ahead and give it a taste to see if you need to adjust any of the seasonings. Now what you're looking for when you're trying to decide how fine to grind the chickpeas is that when you put it into your hands, you have to be able to make it into a ball or a little patty. If it doesn't stick together, it generally means that it's not ground up enough. So make sure that you do that test if you're not sure, but don't grind it into a smooth paste because that's not what falafels are about. You need some texture in there. Now at this point the mixture is ready, so you can take it out into a bowl and leave it, make it tomorrow whenever you like. The flavors will just meld together and become even more tastier, or you can fry them right away. I'm going to leave it aside for a little bit while I whip up a salad. So one of the salads I'm making is a pickled red cabbage salad, and you must have tasted that at a Turkish restaurant. It's so delicious, goes so well with falafels, and it's really easy to make. All right, so I've got about a cup of red cabbage that I've sliced up here, and a teaspoon of chopped fresh flat leaf parsley, and I'm putting that in just because I think the green and the purple go so well together. So it's there basically for color. I'm going to put it into a bowl so that I can mix it properly. to this, I'm going to add about a half a teaspoon of salt, maybe a little bit less. Just sprinkle some salt on there. Put a little bit of olive oil on there. I like to add a little bit of red wine vinegar and some freshly squeezed lemon juice. So I've got about a half a lemon here. And then use your hands and just mix it together really well. If you mix it with a fork or with tongs or something, it's just not going to be the same. You kind of want to scrunch it up a little bit so that all the flavors can get into the cabbage. And then let it sit for a while and you'll see that it will come together really nicely. Now the other salad I'm going to make will have cucumber, a red ripe tomato, some red onion, and some fresh parsley. And I'm going to de-seed the tomato and the cucumber and chop everything up. So I've chopped everything up. And then I'm just going to put it into a bowl so that I can mix it. Now again with this salad, I'm going to put some salt on it. So I have about 1/4 teaspoon, some freshly ground pepper, some fresh lemon juice, some olive oil, and then I'm going to mix this by hand. And mixing your salad by hand, I think, is the best way to toss a salad. And here I have some dried mint leaves, and I'm just going to sprinkle some mint leaves on there. And this salad is ready. So my salads are all ready, and I whipped up some red pepper hummus earlier, and this goes really well with falafel too. I'll put the recipe link for that up here. So this is all ready. Now I'm going to make the falafels. So to make the falafel shapes, you can either use an ice cream scoop like this. This is a 1-inch scoop, and I have these available on my website. Or you can use this gadget, which is a falafel maker. And this I bought in the USA in a Persian shop. I'm sure they're available in like Turkish shops here in the UK, so you can look for that. I did find some on Amazon, but I thought they were really expensive. This was very inexpensive. So don't pay more than a couple of pounds for this gadget because it's not that expensive. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to shape the falafel. So if you're using the falafel maker, push the mixture in tightly. Make sure it's really nicely packed, and then clean around the edges. And then you can push it out and slide the disc off of the base. And it's that easy. If you're using the ice cream scoop, fill the scoop up with the mixture and put it into your hand and push it together. Then with your hands, shape it into a disc, but make sure you're packing it really tightly, otherwise it will fall apart. So you can see that you can make the falafel shapes into discs even if you don't have one of these falafel gadgets. And the reason I make them into discs and not into round balls is because when you fry them, anytime you fry anything that's a round ball, or even if you're making meatballs or anything like that, when you cook them, one side always ends up getting flat anyway. So with these discs, it's so much better. You can flip them over either this way or that way and they cook so evenly. So definitely do the disc shape instead. So I'm done making the falafel shapes, and this amount of mixture makes 22 to 23 discs, just depending on how big the discs are. And that serves about 3, maybe 4 people. So now I'm gonna get ready to start the oil on a medium heat. And I'm using sunflower oil to deep fry these falafel. And I'm gonna put my heat on the number 5. I'm gonna put about an inch deep worth of oil in there. And while the oil's heating up, I've got my plate ready with a paper towel, my slotted spoon. I've also got a fork ready because sometimes it's just easier to turn each falafel using a fork. I'm gonna check if the oil is ready by just throwing in a little bit of the mix. And it looks like there's a response. We don't want it too hot, so I'm going to carefully put in some falafel. And it's just so much easier to control what you're touching when you have a fork, so you just want to make sure that they don't stick together. Once they start to go golden brown, you can turn them over. Once they turn a nice light brown, then go ahead and remove them to your paper towel. And continue frying. Now these falafel are best enjoyed when they're hot, so don't fry them and keep them ready or keep them in the oven because they will dry out. Just fry them right before you're going to enjoy them. And the falafels are ready. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you did, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you all soon for some more cooking inspiration. So delicious.